For those of you that know that I'm one of the biggest supporters of businesses going around. I love and celebrate all types of business structures. My guest today, Zoe George, the subtle mummy, took a moment out of her very busy schedule to spend some time to educate me on the business of being a public figure. As subtle as a brick in the face, in her words, Zoe tells it like it is, not only on her blog and social media profiles, but here in this podcast. We talk about the art of staying true to your brand, the reality of what it actually takes to run her brand, and a very honest understanding of the cost savings of hiring public figures to promote brands. So let's get into it. Hi, Zoe. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
I've wanted to reach out to you for some time now because I'm a big fan of what you do. I feel as though you're relatable. There's this connectability to what you're doing. So I'm so glad that you've agreed to come and have a chat with me today. I wanted to kick off, though, by saying that your Instagram profile describes you as a public figure. Now, there are lots of different titles for the work that you do, and I didn't want to make any assumptions going into this conversation. So I thought I'd hand it over to you to tell me whether or not you give what you do a title or,
Okay. So when I meet people in the real world, sometimes I can't be bothered explaining all about social media and all that sort of thing, because I find that if they're on social media, they already kind of know me, or know what I do. And if they're not, they've got no idea. And it's just such a huge conversation. So I just say I'm a teacher. But when it comes to titles, I really, really dislike all the stigma that surrounds titles like mummy blogger. And then mummy blogger was like, okay, that's cooler now than influencer, because influencer is like a really, can I say the word twat? Like it's really twatty title to give, And then when I went on TV, I thought, okay, I'll do public figure because I wanted to get verified, my blue tick. And so there was a process to do that. And I feel like that little title, I hate it, but you need to categorize yourself, which is silly. But I chose public figure just so that people can kind of, when brands want to approach me, they go there first, and then they can kind of see what I prefer or what I guess it's like there's so many umbrellas, but I didn't want to put influencer and I didn't want to have blogger anymore. I think just after Big Brother, I just put public figure and I left it at that. And, I wish I could put nothing, and I wish it wasn't, an obligatory thing, but it is what it is.
Game we play, don't we? We have to submit to what they want us to do to be able to get what we need out of it. So I totally appreciate it, but I do like that title. I think it's an all and sundry, and I think it kind of makes sense. But if I can jump back just very quickly, you are a teacher. I know you tell people that you're a teacher, but you have been a teacher in your lifetime. Tell me a little bit about that and then the transition from that, because you're no longer teaching. Is that correct?
Yeah, I resigned this year. So my blog, so back before influencers were a thing, it was blogs, and you actually wrote, I wrote articles. So when I had my daughter and I was on maternity leave, and I get bored really easily and I like stimulating my brain. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I've forgotten how to spell. When you're on maternity leave and you're not dealing with people every day and you're not writing emails and you're not exercising your brain, you forget how to use it. So I started writing articles about postpartum things, about pelvic floors and flatulence and all the really gross things associated with motherhood, and but in a funny way. And those articles all got picked up, and, Huffington Post and Daily Mail and all these online journals picked up my writing. And I'm not an English teacher, I'm an art teacher and a woodwork teacher. But yeah, like, I love to write. And so they got picked up, and it just kind of escalated from there. But even to begin my blog, before that, I was in mummy forums, and I just used to like make funny comments, and people were like, "You're so funny, you should blog." And I was like, "What's a blog? I've got no idea." I just used to do Facebook statuses. And then one stranger, like a lady that I'd never met before, she said to me, "This is what I do for work. I think you're going to be famous one day. I'm going to make you a website free of charge. Just log in. Here it is, and start writing." And so I did.
Wow. And so you made the decision this year to stop teaching.
Yeah.
How's that been for you?
So I feel like, I don't know, I think only teachers can relate to this feeling that you have so I was in a government school, and when you're in a government school and you have an ongoing position, you can't be fired from that, like, unless you do something really bad. And it's a certain sense of security. Like, you can go off, have children for 7 years, they keep your job, and you've always got the security of having that to fall back on. So nobody wants to give that up. Like, no. And I loved the school I was at. My principal was amazing. And so it was really hard for me to make the decision. But when I went on Big Brother, I took a year unpaid, and then I worked the first month of that year and then left for the rest of the year. And then we went into lockdowns, and I was like, okay, well, I didn't get to travel. My plan was, after Big Brother, seeing as I've got the year off, go overseas as well, come back refreshed, ready to get back into it. And we were in lockdown, so I asked my boss for another year off, and she granted that, and that was fine. And then we had another year of lockdown. And then I was
unbeknownst to so many people.
Yeah. And in that year, my page, like, this became a job for me, and a full-time job, and it just grew and grew and grew. And I was so scared, because tomorrow I could get hacked, lose my page and all my followers, and no one's going to want to work with me. I could say something and get cancelled, or I could, brands might just not want to reach out to me for 3, 4, 5 months. And it's really scary because there's no security. Yeah. And I was like, oh, is this something I want to do? But I think it was just consistently good for long enough for me to go, okay, Zoe, take a risk, resign, ride this wave now that you are in the limelight, now that you are growing, now that, just ride the wave. And you can always go back to teaching when you're like 50, 60. So I let go of my ongoing position.
And you're riding that wave. It sounds exciting though. Like, how's it been received in terms of your inner circle?
So in the beginning, when I first started this, my mum's always been my biggest critique. Yeah. And I'm very safe when it comes to money. I need security, so it's really scary to go and do this. And I resigned from teaching, and my husband went out, started his own business. So we were like surviving off my influencer income for 6 months at one point. And I was so mortified. I was so scared. My mum used to say to me when I first started, why are you doing this? Why do you share your life with all these people, and you're making a fool of yourself, and you're sharing all this information, and people will give you evil eye, and why are you doing this? Like, you're not getting anything out of it. And I'm like, I don't know, Mum. Like, I like doing it. I like being, I guess I like the attention in a way. But I said, it might be free now, but this is how you build your audience. And one day it could be something bigger. And she used to go, oh, you're only doing that for a free T-shirt, or you're only doing that for a free, bunch of flowers. And then now she comes over, and I give her 2 handbags and 3 pairs of shoes and a box full of makeup and some, now she's loving my job. Yeah, and free holidays. She comes on holidays with me for the week, and now she's supportive.
Oh, I bet she is.
So my husband's always been really supportive. He was just from the beginning, like, if this is what you want to do, and yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. And especially given that he's in the finance field, isn't he? Is that
Yeah.
correct? Yeah. So he obviously money's a thing for him as well. So having that security must have seen something in it to be so supportive. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I always had the backup of the teaching as well. So I think it was a slow burn. Like I was doing it while I was teaching, and then he saw it just escalating, and it got to the point I only quit when it was I was making twice as much as a teacher.
Wow.
Like,
That is
so that
fantastic.
was when I said, okay, now I can stop, because we always relied on me making that income, that whatever I made as a teacher, that was what I had to contribute. So when I was making well and truly above that, we were like, okay, well then, and I've got a little savings. So now I'm okay. It still was very calculated.
Yeah. And I think I like that plan. We've all got our limits, and as long as you've got a real clear view on what your limit is, it sounds as though
Mm,
you had that. And as soon as it ticked those boxes for you, you felt there's a level of safety there, even though it's not the
yeah.
safety that you felt with the school system and being able to go back when you can. I think you've ticked off the right boxes to be able to say, well, hang on, it validates itself as a business and as a structure. So now the
Yeah.
time to jump in. But can I go back to the comments you're making in terms of the conversation with your mum and talking about free? I can't imagine, like, I hear these comments about influencers, if you don't mind me saying it just for the purpose of the
Yeah.
conversation, but they've got it easy. It seems so easy, and they've got this life and they get all this free stuff, and it's not actually free. And even before you may have been getting paid for it, it looks like a lot of work. So
Mhm.
a t-shirt is not necessarily free. It comes with your time. And if, as a financial coach myself, I would be the sort of person that goes, don't go giving anything for free. But like you said, you had to build your brand. So,
Yeah. And
what was that
and
like?
sometimes I was working and I was paying for the content, like paying for the items as well. So you've got to start somewhere. People
Yeah.
aren't just going to start going, I'm going to pay this person with 500-600 followers. I'm going to give her a free whatever and pay her on top of that. That just doesn't happen. You
No.
need to you need to build your audience, and you need to earn attention from brands. So I would actually go and buy something and do a review of it. And I also think that works in two ways. And when I mentor anyone, I say, what you put out there, you receive as well. So I noticed that if I do fashion this week, I'll have 5 labels reach out to me within that week saying, because they've seen it, they've liked what they've seen, and they've done it. So back when I wasn't making any money, if I did fashion would start noticing me. And that's how you got to kind of trick it. If you want to do beauty, go to Priceline, buy some beauty products, do a review, and tag those brands. People don't know whether you're being paid or not. And you don't, you only have to declare it when you are being paid. When you're not, you're just doing a genuine, honest review. And people say, and that takes the pressure off everything, because your audience are going, okay, she's so relaxed. There's no mentioning codes and, what the benefits of everything are. It's a really wholesome beginning, and people, that's how you earn their trust. And that's how then they become genuine, like a genuine audience, that when you are spruiking a brand, they trust you. They know that you wouldn't just promote anything. And so that's how that genuine audience grows. So I see some people that just are so obsessed with a number, and they go and they buy followers, or they do these loops where people are obligated to follow you. You haven't earned those followers. You haven't earned those people trust. So what are they going to do? They're not going to engage. They're not going to buy, and they'll unfollow you as soon as you irritate them.
Yeah, so true. So true. But now that you actually have brought up the whole brand thing, this
Yeah.
is the reason why I reached out to you, because I was watching a couple of your stories, and you talk a lot about, you must get questions all the time about the brands that you promote, or those that you're aligned with. And one of the conversations you were having was in relation to this genuine connection that you want to feel when you're taking on any brand, paid or not. Like
Yeah.
there's got to be a genuine connection. And I find myself personally, disconnected from those that seem to be every 5 minutes wanting to spruik the latest, skincare range. I know skincare is a touchy subject at the moment, but,
Yeah.
skincare, and, this week it's the perfect skincare. And next week, the same person is saying this new skincare
Yeah.
is perfect, but that's not what you're all about. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I learned really early on that there is nothing more important for your brand than maintaining being genuine. Like, people notice. You cannot physically even be promoting one skincare range this month and then receive something new, try it, see how it reacts to your skin, and be promoting it within a month. It's just not feasible, and people can see through that. And it's not only skincare, it's just everything. I don't think it's even fair on the brand. I don't do fashion like within a week of each other, or sometimes I try and space it out to a month, but if like pressure, if that's what they want, I don't put them even in the same week. And that's fashion. Like, you go shopping and you buy from Zara and you buy from Kmart and but when I'm promoting, I don't want to promote Zara and then everyone goes buys from them, and then 2 days later I'm going to promote a different brand. I've just ruined their chances because people are gone on a shopping spree elsewhere. So you've got to think of all these things. But with I don't do skincare very often as well, because there was a point where I was being reached out. I think at least monthly, a different skincare range would reach out to me. And it's not great for my skin. I've got pretty good skin. So if I'm constantly changing things, I'm going to start breaking out. And also, I can't go online and say this skincare has made my skin amazing when I had good skin to begin with. I can't say to someone with acne that they're going to get better skin like mine, because I didn't have acne to begin with.
Yeah.
So people have got to see. Some people see through it, but I feel also that it's my obligation to refrain from trying to mislead people as well.
Yeah, I'm aligned to that. Like, I really get that, because I think that comes across. Like, you can see that in all the content that you do, that there's that genuine connection to what it is that you're being paid for, and that's an honest connection. I love that.
Exactly. And sorry, one more thing I've just remembered is, a lot of times I decline collaborations, which is really tricky, because when a company is reaching out to me, let's take, for instance, this mug. Okay, you have designed this mug. It's your pride and joy. It's your brand. It's, you are so passionate about this, and you just you think influencers are the bee's knees, and this is what's going to set off your business. And they come to me and they say, I really want you to promote. We love your vibe, blah, blah, blah. And if I don't think that my audience are going to go crazy for this mug because I didn't go crazy for this mug, then I decline. But there's two ways this could go. They could be really offended because you're saying, like, oh, you don't like my product. Why don't you like my product? You think you're too good for this product, But I'm just trying to save them money. I don't want you wasting thousands of dollars paying me to promote a mug. You will not. It's just not going to benefit you. You will need to cover what you've paid me and then make a profit. It's just not going to work. And I can tell what is and what isn't going to work, but people are really taken aback by that. And I find it really hard to say it politely, like, to be like, I can't just say to them, I think you're going to waste your money on me. Like, I don't want to say that. So I'm just like, I'm working with something similar at the moment, or, I just don't think it's the right fit for right now. I try, we have to be tactical, like in the way we approach. So yeah, sometimes if anyone's listening and you're a brand and you reach out to someone, if they're politely declining, it's probably for your best interest, and that's a really good thing, because I could easily say, yeah, sure, give me the mug, give me a couple grand and I'll promote it. And then when it flops, I don't care. My bank account's fine. Yours isn't.
Yeah.
So it's finding that genuine influencer who is going to care for your brand And if that means saying no sometimes, you know, you could find someone who's happy to work for free. She won't have as many followers as me, maybe. She's still got a genuine audience. Give her a mug for free, or even, you know, pay a small amount. And that could be the avenue you start in, you know?
Yeah. Again, it just seems so much better to do that. And I think we talk about numbers, and again, being a numbers person myself, those brands are the ones that are just chasing numbers. They're just seeing a number and thinking, well, I need to access that amount, those people and that audience, without real regard for the fact that maybe your audience isn't all about mugs, and maybe your audience isn't aligned to that. And your best place to do that. That doesn't mean you won't ever work with that brand. It just means that that particular product isn't where you want to be right now. And I think they need to start listening to that type of marketing, because it's a huge space for businesses to be in, but they've got to get it right. They can't just flog it out to everybody and expect just to flood the market that way, because people aren't going to buy like that.
And then when you throw PR into the mix as well, because there's all different tiers of influencers, and there's public figures or whatnot. But so there could be someone with 1 million followers. Most of the time, those people aren't very connected to their audience. Like, I personally haven't bought anything that Kim Kardashian posts about, you know, like I don't feel that connection. I don't know. I don't even pay attention, to be fair. I just scroll because like it's pretty in my feed or whatever, you know. A lot of times brands that reach out or work with someone like that, they pay a lot of money, but it's for brand awareness. It's to get their brand seen by eyes. Whereas when you're working with a micro influencer or someone really small, like under 5K, they have a really genuine audience. Probably 50% of them are their friends and family from the real world as well. So you're going to get a really good conversion when you look at, if you give them $100 or $200 or $300 and they've gotten you 20 sales, versus someone with over 100K might only get you 2 sales or 0 sales. You know, you just don't. I feel like you've really got to look at conversion and engagement and ask for those figures when you're speaking to someone, if there's money involved.
Yeah, definitely, if there's money involved. And it's to safeguard your own investment as a brand, I think, for sure. Can I ask you, besides skincare, is there any type of product you hands down will not work with?
I don't want to get in trouble for saying this, but
please,
no hate. But I don't do MLM.
Ah, yes.
So and in saying that again, like, there's so many people that fall under MLM, but they're not. Like, I've promoted for Intimo before, but again, I won't go on there and be like, oh yeah, like join my team. You know what I mean? I'm like, these are these really nice bras that I genuinely love. But, you know, like I avoid things like that, like lip sense and, you know, that's the kind of thing I don't really go for. But also, vibrators. I've been asked so many times.
Really?
Like sex toys. I've been asked so many times, but look, I'm a teacher, I'm a wife, I'm a mum, and it doesn't fit my brand, you know, irrespective of how I feel about it in my real life and in the real world. It's just not something that, you know, like culturally, my mum would die, my husband would die. Like, it's just, you know, no amount of money, you know, when it comes to that. Things like that. I don't know. It just depends what, you know, the illegal substances or anything with like that sort of thing. I did one time, like, I'm not a big fan of gambling, but one time I did like a scratchy collaboration, and I didn't feel right about doing it, but I had agreed before I kind of knew what it was as well, so I followed through. And yeah, just like seeing comments come through like, I can't believe you're condoning gambling, and I was like, oh, I'll never do that again, you know. Like, I did it because I'd agreed to it and it went against my gut, and then I regretted it.
Yeah, the gut's such a powerful tool when making business decisions, I think, for sure. It sounds like a lot of fun, though, in terms of some of the stuff that you get. What was one of the most exciting, well, let's say, collaborations that you've done, or even just item that you've received to work with?
Exciting. So I love everything travel related. So
Yep.
anything that's, a getaway or a trip or something like that, they're amazing. Um, I don't know, like it depends. Exciting. Gosh, I love my little D-bot, like my little vacuum cleaner. I love my purifier, like there's some
Yeah.
really big ticket items. Oh, I got a Tesla for a month. So that was amazing.
Wow.
Like I got to drive a Tesla around. Like that was so much fun. My kids loved that as well. Yeah, there's so many things that, and what's interesting, all those things that I mentioned were all like contra collabs. Like I didn't get paid for them. So
Yep.
so yeah, sometimes things like that pop up and I go, I really want that. I'm happy to do it, at no charge.
Oh, that's great. It's good when you're aligned with the stuff that you kind of want as well. And you kind of think, oh, that's going to
Yeah.
land and it's exactly what I was after. And
Yeah.
it's
And I
great to
think
be
at
able to
one
promote it.
point my mentality, because everyone has their mentors, and I was speaking to another girl who's an influencer who I really look up to. I feel like she's just on top of it business wise. And she said to me, like, because in the beginning there's this kind of like a line where you cross over where in the beginning you're like, oh, I don't want to say no and miss out on that product. Like I really want the product. I wonder if they've got budget. I don't want to ask for money, and then they say no, they've got no budget, and then I miss out, and you're in this frame of mind. And I think and she said to me, people get annoyed when you do too many ads, right? Everyone knows that. They want the genuine content. But without the ads, obviously your page wouldn't be up, right? That's like when you watch TV, there's ads, that's what's paying for your movie that's on. But so she was like, so why would you do an ad, post it in your feed? People think you're getting paid for it, but you're not getting paid for it. So there's not even that reward of, okay, I might have lost 5 followers, but I got paid. She's like, so why are you doing it just for the product? And I think that's where it kind of clicked to me. And it's interesting because the minute I decided, okay, I'm not accepting anything anymore gifted, like I'll say no to the t-shirt or the box of chocolates or like the small ticket items where I'm like, I would rather just pay for that and buy it myself and have it rather than do a collab for it and potentially irritate my followers because I've done 3 ads this week or 4 ads this week. And the minute my frame of mind changed and I started saying no, like people would approach me like, sorry, I'm not taking any gifted collaborations at the moment. They always found money.
Mm.
They would find budget. Like, yeah, I missed out on a lot, but it's like my business took off when I made that decision because they had budget and they had money and they see the value. But just like everyone, you want a bargain, right? Like in good 10 points to you for
And why
trying,
not start that way? You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
might as well start as low as you can and see what you can get. But, I think you were saying about, just wanting to take on everything because you're too scared to miss out and you're worried that you're not going to get asked again or whatever it might be. And I think that's just a business trait. When anyone's starting out in business, I kind of find I use the word pimping all the time with small
Yeah.
business owners when I work with them. Don't pimp yourself out just for the sake of, getting a couple of dollars in potentially from a business perspective, or even just trying to make your mark. I think when you clear the path, like what you've just talked about, clearing the path to then be able to say no to certain things and be confident enough to say no,
Yeah.
all of a sudden the right stuff, you've got
Yeah.
space in your life for the right stuff, and people will find the dollars if it's right. And
Exactly. And it's knowing your worth as well.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
100%. Because so many people disregard that when they're
Mhm.
thinking about, you run a service. That's what you're doing in terms of your business. And more often than not, I see a lot of business owners that don't value that. They don't even put that as a cost of business. And,
Yeah.
we were talking a little bit before about this free stuff. None of it's free. The work you put in, I can't even imagine the hours that you put in. I hate going on camera at the best of times for 5 minutes to say, hey, can you listen to my podcast this week? I can't imagine what it's like for you to
Yeah.
have to show up every single time. And it genuinely looks like you're loving it and you're having a ball. And especially that personalized content that you allow people into your life, because you're right, that helps build your brand. That's part of the process. I imagine that's tiring at times too, though, even though that's what you want to do. So,
and with you touched a little bit on people find the money. I think when you reach out to someone and you give them something for free and they're going to do, you're not paying them, right? They're going to accept it. They're going to be like, oh yeah, hey, cool guys, check this out, I just bought these, yeah, cool, and then move on. Like, it's just not the same content. You're just not going to. And even if you take all that away and you look at a traditional business, when you are looking to do your website, you need to pay a photographer, you need to pay a studio, you need to pay a model, you need to pay all these things. When you're working with an influencer, you've eliminated all those costs and you've reached their audience as well. So when you work with a photographer, a studio, they're not giving you any free advertising. So when you're working with an influencer, you've covered your model, your photography, your editing, your all of that, and you've got content. And if you pay for usage of that content as well, you can repurpose that content for years. You can take it and be using it for ads. You can pay for Facebook ads. You can use the photos on your emails, on your letterheads, on your website. There is so much more to paying an influence, and you will only pay a small fraction of what a photographer, a studio and all that costs. So it really is
good point.
You pay it and you get that. And sometimes, even if you make zero sales, and I say this to people because I can lead a horse to water, but I can't make it drink. I can't jump through the screen and go into people's wallets. If anything else you've gained from this, at least you're able to use my content. And if you're really happy with my content, which I always make sure that the brands I work with are super happy with everything that I produce, then that's something. Use the shit through that. Like, use it and use it again.
Yeah. Such a valid point, and I think so many people miss that. I think they're drawn to the influencer style content because they perceive this as being the numbers thing, like what we were talking about before in terms of reach. But there is so much more to that in terms of cost savings as businesses. It's the new way of marketing, and there's no doubt about it. And I think that whilst it feels as though the market is flooded with so many people doing similar sorts of things, everyone's unique in their own way, and you're going to be able to spot those that are right for your brands. And I think I love that. I can't say that enough. You're cutting out photographers, you're cutting out that they would happily hand over that sort of money and find the money when they're setting up a studio and wanting to do some sort of commercial, whether it be for TV or anything like that. So it goes exactly the same way. So that's yeah, I really like that. I hadn't looked at it that way before, and I'm sure a lot of people haven't looked at it that way before.
100%. 100%. No one thinks about that. They're just like, oh, you get free stuff and you just got to and it's like, well, hold on. I've had back and forth emails, like that's taken up how much of my time. I've had to, I might have to do my hair, my makeup, find an outfit. A lot of times they want a certain backdrop, a certain nail polish color.
Wow.
Yeah, people are very pedantic in their briefs, They might want multiple angles of something. So the filming itself will take how long? Then I've got to edit once, like the editing programs that I pay for, my time to sit there editing. Editing takes hours.
Yes.
And then you're writing the caption, and then you've got to make sure you set an alarm to put it at your peak time because, we've got peak times. Then you've got to invoice the client, just that there's so much more than just I take a photo and I upload a photo. Yeah. I wish it was that easy.
I think people need to respect the fact that it's a business structure more than they actually do. And when I hear these comments, I'm not even an influencer, and I hear these comments and I get frustrated by it. I think because I value business structures, I understand that they come in all different types of forms. And like I said to you before, I can honestly see just through something simple like, spruiking a bar that you like to eat or whatever it might be, there's so much work that would have to go into that. And I get the back end, I get the back and forths, I get the conversations. But do you mind me asking whether or not you continue to control your conversation, or do you go through an agency? Because there's plenty of agencies out there that represent people at the moment.
Yeah, I have had agencies reach out to me a couple of times, but I feel, do you know that gut we were talking about before? Like, I feel like, why change something when it's going so well for me right now? But also my gut's telling me that the minute it's so like double-edged sword, you know. On one hand, I would love to do less work for more money, and I know an agency will get me those bigger clients like Maya and Coles and whatnot, and I will only have to do a fraction of the work that I'm doing to make the same amount of money. But on the other hand, I know my gut is just telling me the minute I get an agent, small businesses won't be able to afford me. And that is so important to me, supporting small businesses. Like, so, you know, I offer on my media kit, I offer a discount for small businesses, you know, and things like that. Like, it's important to me for them to, because for a small business, my fee is a huge amount of money. So if they see the value in that and they really want to work with me, if I go and raise my rates another 4 times, they just can't afford it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? A big business can. So yeah, I really want to remain attainable, like, you know, for small businesses as well. So it's the only thing keeping me, like, and I'm like, because I grow with these brands as well. And I feel I've been working with New Wave for 2 years now, like the air purifier, and they came to me in the very beginning, and I remember they had no budget, and it was like a $1,000 purifier, and I was like, yeah, I'm happy to do it. And then at one point I was like, look, you know, this is my fee, and they were like, they were cool with that. And you know, and now, you know, they send me Christmas presents, I send them a Christmas present.
Fabulous.
And I've grown to, they're a family business. It's the dad and his daughter, and I chat to them, and they've come to my house, and you know, like, it's that I don't want to lose that, you know, because for them that means a lot, and they would need to start again from scratch with someone else, you know.
Oh, see, that's that genuine connection that I absolutely was drawn to and wanted to chat with you. Like, you can feel that. You can feel that you're aligned to those types of morals and that sort of value in what you do. So if I can get a little personal right now,
yeah,
a question I'm asking a lot of my guests on my podcast this year, and that is, if you could have someone play you in a role about your life in a movie, who would it be and why? It doesn't have to necessarily be someone who looks like you or anything like that, but if it's someone you might be aligned to, who would you have? Because I reckon there's a movie. There's a movie dealing.
I'd play myself.
I love that. I'll take that.
Screen.
Well, you are a public figure, so there you go. That ticks all those boxes. For sure.
Who would I pick to play me? Do you know what? Just for entertainment purposes, one of my good friends, I would ask her because they're best at teasing me. But I reckon Rebel Wilson, just because she's funny, like, and that's just me. She's got like a crass humor as well, like, and I find that I filter myself a lot. Like, when people meet me in the real world and there's no camera, I am so much worse, like, than what I am online. Like, and this is the thing. People started following my journey because I'm subtle as a brick in the face. That's where it came from. It's not that I'm actually subtle. Like, subtle mummy came from subtle as a brick in the face. And so, but slowly the Karens made me filter, you know, and I became a lot more censored. And even when I went on Big Brother, I held back so much because I'm like, I'm a role model, I'm a teacher, I'm a mum, I've got to behave, you know. And so when I'm with my friends and the real crazy me comes out, it's a completely different, and I wish I could show more of that personality, but unfortunately, this is my job now, and I need to remain professional, and I need to be able to, you know, like, please everyone. And so I wish I could be more crass and more funny online, but you know,
maybe I let little peeps sneak through. And I think that's I think that's complimentary that you can
Yeah.
at least get to a certain point for yourself, because being genuine, like I said, I really feel like there's that genuine nature anyway, and you can see all
I
of
have
that.
moments where I go online and I'll record a whole series of me being bitchy about something. And then I'm like, no, delete. I just save them and I send them to my friends instead. And I'm like, no, Zoe, you're better than that. Don't do it. So delete.
I can't even imagine the pressure. Like that would be just so much pressure to you just want to let it all be, but you
Yeah.
have to be able to.
Because we've got emotions, like I get annoyed about things all the time. People might message me something that's really offensive, or I might want to share some DMs I get inappropriate from men, or like sometimes even married men, or I see their wives on their profile, and I would love to out people, but it's not professional, I'd love to talk about that girl that's been backstabbing me on her stories, and get the catty side out, but I'm a mum. I'm a teacher. I have to behave.
One last question I had for you for today was, if you had any advice for those that are trying to break into this area of work for themselves, what would you give them starting out? What sort of advice?
I would say be prepared that it might not be successful, because I didn't go into this with the intention of being famous or being, a big influencer or anything like that. I was just sharing my genuine, I just turned my profile public, like just whatever I would share with my family and friends. And so remain genuine. And if people like you, they'll like you. Don't try and be someone that you're not, because that's what fits the mold. Like, don't go on and put on an act. People want to see the real you. And if they don't fall in love with the real you, then it's not sustainable. They won't stick around. Also, be prepared to do a lot for free in the beginning. You've got to do, so much. It's like an audition. Show people what they're going to get when they want to work with you, if you are trying to make money out of this. I also see a lot of people who they become obsessed with the numbers. Don't become obsessed with the numbers. Don't do loops and giveaways and, buy followers. It's really not worth it, because you're throwing your money away. Those people aren't engaged. It actually makes your numbers look really bad when a brand wants to work with you. And they see, when a brand wants to work with me, I've got to show them my stats. And my stats will say 93% women, because I physically remove a lot of males because they're just not my target audience. They're not going to buy the things that I'm sharing. And I would love to, my number would be twice what it was if I didn't do that. And also for cyber safety, I share my kids and all that sort of stuff. So I see 93% women aged between 25 and 45. Over 50% are from Melbourne, like all that. So a brand knows that's exactly what they're getting with me. If I was just buying a followers or whatever, they'd be from overseas, they'd be men, they'd be, so you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot having a big number, but it's really not going to get you anything.
And the reality is that even if you've got 100 people, if you've got 100 people following you and 100 of them are engaged and 100 of them are buying from you, if we're talking numbers, that makes sense. You don't need 1,000 when you've got 100% that are totally engaged. And that's a good place to start, I think, especially.
And you need to love the products. If you don't love it, your audience won't love it. And people can tell. They can tell when I put on this dress and I hadn't picked it and it looked like I was ready for church. Nobody bought that dress. When I put on a dress and I'm like, it sells out. That's the difference. Like,
I've done that with something that you've put up. I've gone to buy it and it's already sold out. I'm like, that's not right. I was like 3 seconds from when this. And I
feel like saying, guys, this brand, I love it. By the time I wear it, it's going to be sold out. So just buy it now. And then I'm like, nah, I stop myself and I delete it, because I'm like, that looks like I'm trying to sell to them. Like, it looks like I'm trying to, be forceful, even though I'm just trying to give everyone a heads up, because then they hate on me. It's sold out. Why'd you wear it?
Well, trust me, when it happens enough, you move quicker. as quickly as you possibly can with that sort of thing. But Zoe, keep doing what you're doing. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and I can see how much you love it, and it's so genuine. So I really appreciate your platform.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you.
again
That's
for
so
today.
nice.
I really appreciate you coming on and having a bit of a chat.
Thank you.